Hello there, my beautiful Aquarius signs. It's Rachel with Dark Knight Coaching. So today's video is a Celtic cross spread that I pull for you. I'm an intuitive reader, so I kind of go with however the message flows, Aquarius. And you have a lot of stuff happening, a lot of shifts, a lot of changes, a lot of moving forward, a lot of progress, but a lot of traumatic and maybe dramatic sort of changes shifting in your life at this time. So, if something in this message resonates, please make sure you smash that like button because it helps my channel grow and I greatly appreciate it. And I have an Aquarius, Venus sign, and my rising is in Aquarius. So that makes me a humanitarian, which you probably are as well, which is why you're watching this video, because usually if you're watching tarot videos, you're looking for confirmation or synchronicity or some sort of validation or just self-help, because there's so many questions we have about life, and divination cards such as tarot and oracle cards that I pull here are just kind of one modality of healing and helping and trying to understand the archetypes that we play in these lives and the roles that we play and have to heal as we learn and as we grow and move and progress through life. Now, your initial card here was the Fool, which is a great card to have. I was kind of like a little bit surprised, but then again, I'm kind of not, because of the shifts that we're going through collectively. So this is like a great card for you to have, Aquarius. This reminds me of like Age of Aquarius, which is what we're in right now. And this is the shift that's been happening for everyone collectively. So if you've been doing that internal healing, internal work, you're progressing forward, and this is a new chapter. This is a new cycle. Now, make sure you check out the lunar cycles, because the lunar cycles are very much so tied to whatever's happening in your life right now. We just went through a full moon in Aries, and that is a very big shift and change that's happening for whatever was probably happening around this time last year. But it's also, Pluto is in retrograde, I believe, and that is causing closure for something that was like maybe a year and a half long. Those cycles are coming to an end as well. So you might want to check your journals if you journal. If you don't journal, I highly recommend journaling, because you can kind of keep track of what's going on and how the moon can affect that and what cycle you're at. Because not only do you have the Fool card, which is a new chapter, you have this Page of Pentacles. This is your challenge at this time, but it's really an opportunity. It's the Celtic cross, when they say cross, it's because there's a challenge here. So this is what's crossing you, basically. But the Page of Pentacles is a seed. It's a new opportunity. It's a literally a little nugget that you can decide to plant and move forward. Now, this could be something in regards to passions. This could be something in regards to healing. I am getting a lot of things that involve like self-love, self-care, healing mother wounds, that sort of energy, because the Empress came out and some other things that came out that kind of confirm that to me. Just setting healthy boundaries for yourself. That might just be the seed that you're starting to plant, because the basis of this foundation is the High Priestess. This is your inner knowing. This is your intuition. Your third eye might be activated right now, and you're really aligned with your soul, your higher self, because you've learned a lesson here and you've moved out of something in the past. Because in the past you have, it's a wild read. These both flew out. You have the Devil card and the Nine of Swords. So it's like your ego, you were tied up in pride or ego or shame or fear or something along those lines. Maybe some addictive habits or behavioral patterns that were not serving you. And it doesn't have to be like self-harm. It can be like, gambling, smoking, drinking, those sorts of things that you're kind of giving up. But to clarify that, I was like, well, what's this about? It was about something that was keeping you up at night, something that was causing insomnia. Maybe it was heartache. Maybe it was heartbreak. Maybe it was just a mindset or a lifestyle, or, breaking out of the norm for you. Now, when I meditate before I get on camera, Aquarius, I listen to music. So the song that I was guided to listen to today, which I haven't listened to in a long time, was Popular Monster, and that's by, who's that by? Falling in Reverse. I really love the lyrics of that song. I think there's a lot of insightful clarity that can come with that. So you might want to check out those lyrics. It's kind of a rockish tune, kind of really reminds me like emo music from the thousands, but I do feel like there's some relevancy there for you. Now, in your current vibe, you also have the Ten of Swords. This is typically not a great card to have, but I feel like this is a cool card to have because it's cohesive, because it's flowing. You're going from 9 to 10, which is all about completion. So you're making progress for sure. And if that wasn't confirmation enough, the Wheel of Fortune is in your hopes and fears here. So there is a lot of progress. You are moving forward. You are shifting. You are changing. You are growing. For a lot of you, I do believe it's more so a mindset than anything, just because the sword energy is tied to air, which is tied to our mind. So these are all very synchronistic. And, you know, maybe it's about setting boundaries and loving yourself, because you have the King of Swords here in your subconscious. And that's a very kind of cold and callous card for somebody who's maybe never had to set boundaries before or been hesitant to set boundaries with other people. This is a very can be almost like calculating, but you might have to be in whatever situation you're in, Aquarius. You might have to be cold and calculating, and maybe that comes across as leaving someone out in the cold here with the 5 of Pentacles underneath that. That's just confirmation. But that, you know, you have to do what you have to do for yourself, for your own preservation. Otherwise, you're going to get sucked back into like bad habits, bad patterns. And when you do something on a cycle of repeat the same way, the same, you know, you have that same flavor and you're expecting a different taste, like, it's crazy. That's literally the definition of crazy, is where you do something over and over again in the same exact way and expect a different outcome. That's insane. So don't do that. But I don't feel like you are, because this with this 10 of Swords being in your outcome here, or your present vibe, it's like stick a fork in you, you're done. Like, you see the damage that it does, and I feel like you're busy just trying to take out all of these blades. Now, in your near future, you have the Lovers and the Empress. This can be a card of trying to get pregnant. This could be fertility. This could be something along those lines. With all three, sorry, not three, but yeah, well, that's the Lovers is Gemini energy, but I feel like it's a very feminine card. With all three of these like feminine vibes, I do feel like you are, if you've been having fertility issues and that's what you've been wanting, I do feel like that's going to come to fruition maybe in the next 4 weeks or 4 months. I'm not really getting a specific timeline, but for some of you that's very significant. Now, you also have the Empress can be about mother wounding. This can be about healing those mother wounds that we all carry, the trauma that we have from our childhood that we maybe don't even realize, and it can be like triggering those sorts of things to be healed, because the Lovers can be about implementing self-love. It could be finding love or a love partner or an opportunity, but I do feel like in this particular reading, it's releasing old patterns, old mindsets, old lifestyle habits that you've built as a self-preservation type of aspect, and it's moving out of that into something new, into something great. Now, this is your power in the situation here, the Ace of Swords. This is about speaking your truth. This is about being clear and concise. That's also really so aligned with this King of Swords energy. It's very like authentic, very standing up for yourself, standing up for what you believe in, and being not afraid to say something about it. Now, interestingly enough, you have the Two of Swords. So there's also progress. Ace of Swords, Two of Swords, and you have the World here. This is about how do people see you. So the World is about closing karmic cycles. It's about the end and completion of something because you've had to make a hard choice. Two of Swords is about choosing. Sometimes we feel like our hands are tied. You know, it's A or B, but sometimes there's a Z option we didn't even think about. You know, there's little islands in the picture here, and it's like there's 4 islands. So it could be one of many choices you had to make, but it was kind of like you're stuck between a rock and a hard place, but it was the only way out. So you might have had to sacrifice something to move forward out of situations that don't align with your morals or your values, but you are progressing here because in your hopes and your fears, you have the Wheel of Fortune. This is usually a card of luck, but I kind of think of this card as divine timing, divine intervention, progression. The wheel is constantly moving. So whether we want to or not, we are all constantly cycling. The cycles are tied to the moon. The new moon and the full moon are about planting the seeds and harvesting the seeds of potential. And that's what the Page of Pentacles here is. There's potential. There's an opportunity for growth here. And it's up to you if you decide whether to take it. That's kind of the free will that we have in these lives. Now, the last card I have for you, Aquarius, is the outcome. This is the Four of Swords. This is a card of resting, healing, reflecting, rejuvenation, contemplation, a lot of positive energy from this card as well. This is also like making progress because you went from the Ace of Swords to Two of Swords into the Four of Swords. Maybe you skipped at the Three of Swords because that was heartbreak, and I feel like you're kind of over that heartbreak vibe because you've already been through the heartbreak, so you're moving past that and you're healing into the Four of Swords. And that also can be tied to that, like, stick a fork in you, you're done. Like, you're not going to grieve lost love that wasn't maybe love or what you thought was love. It's like you're moving forward because now you're learning how to love yourself, Aquarius, on such a deep level that you're not afraid to stand up for yourself. And that's a very positive thing. It may not be positive for everybody in your surroundings, in their perception, but for you and your soul and your higher self and your goddess divine energy, or God divine energy, if you're a man watching this, this is like, this is great. This is positive. And just remember, energy is fluid. So even if you're a man watching this, like, you have feminine and masculine energy. We all do. It's the duality of the nature of us. It's our yin and our yang. We have both. And once you can learn how to balance and heal both of those things, that's when you can really access your upper chakras, and you can access a lot of your clair abilities and your witchy gifts and psychic abilities and paranormal things like that will kind of flow into you because you have really done the energetic balancing and raised your vibration. So that's what this video is all about. If this message has resonated so far, please make sure you smash the like button. If you're interested in booking a coaching session, please feel free to reach out on my website. If you're interested in a tarot reading, I can do that too. You can book that on the website as well. But I'm going to go ahead and dive into your oracle cards. So I'm going to pull about 9 oracle cards for you, and then if you're interested, I'm going to do an extended reading on this energy, on this like love, Empress, High Priestess energy, just to kind of go a layer, oops, sorry, that was loud, go a layer deeper and see what other messages and guidance your spirit guides have about this love vibe. And this could be dealing with somebody from your past. I do feel like if it was if it was a soulmate, it was a karmic soulmate, and I feel like that's ending. That's just like a vibe I'm getting, but I will pull some more cards on that. But in the meantime, if you're just here for the free reading, then hang on, because I'm going to pull about 10 cards for you. The name Brandon might be significant. I don't know why. For some reason, I'm thinking of my friend Brandon. But that might be a significant name. So, yeah, you're definitely, heartbreak has opened. Heartbreak was the catalyst for you for change. Sometimes we have to learn the hard way, and something about a chasm is significant because you have the fault line card. So the fault line is like the crack. So I think it's Rumi that has a quote where like the crack is where the light gets in. And sometimes when it's heartbreaking, when somebody stabs us in the back so many times, that's the trigger. That's the catalyst that gets us to jumpstart the changes we need to change, because we realize that we are running a caucus race basically around the same circle, and it's silly. So I do feel like you're shifting majorly because of this fault line, because of this crack, because of whatever had happened in your past here with a love that kind of I don't want to say ruined you, but that's what's coming to mind. But it like destroyed whatever sense of self or ego that you thought you had built, or whatever lifestyle, whatever foundation you thought was solid. It really destroyed that. Now you also have number 10 from my I Ching deck. This is not how you typically pull I Ching, but I don't want to waste everybody's time by casting coins, so I just intuitively get whatever comes out. This one says, treading the tiger's tail is perilous, so invite the creature's power into your life as protection, fertility, and blessings. Living in harmony with the tiger takes skill and care, and look to the intensity you are drawn to in the situation you are asking about. Is there danger? Its danger is there, and also its potential gift. So where is the tiger? And how do you know? And do you know how to work with such power? Sorry, I don't know why I'm not reading that well. Somebody might be dyslexic out there. I'm not sure. But when I'm reading that card, I'm just thinking of like the dragon, the inner dragon. Like dragons of the mythical way are typically metaphors for our shadow self, our shadow aspects. The snake is also a nice reference that the Bible and a lot of theological references use as like a symbol of evil or bad, but it's actually a symbol of knowledge and shedding skin. So a lot of people can blur those lines, and there might be something about your eyesight or something being blurry, since I'm not reading very clearly today. So you might want to go to the doctor and get that checked if you're having concerns. But I do feel like there is, and that's weird, that the fault line is almost looking like blood vessels in your eye. So maybe somebody's blood vessel burst or something along those lines. You might want to get that checked out. But I know that sounds like an offshoot, but I'm a little bit of a medical intuitive as well, so that might be a message for somebody watching this. But I do feel like the balance here is trying to not become a monster, which is tied to that song, as you're trying to battle monsters. That maybe you may be feeling cold-hearted or just awkward because you've maybe never had to be like the bad guy in someone's life before. And when you make choices and decisions that are for your best, highest good, you do become a villain in someone else's story. Whether you want it to be that way or not, it's because they haven't healed whatever's been triggered by their inner child, those wounds. So you might be becoming the villain in somebody else's story, and I feel like that might be causing you to have this like treading the tiger vibe where you're afraid, you're going to get bitten, but really you have to realize you are the tiger, you are the lion, you are the lamb. You can be both, and you can have a fine balance, and you don't have to be you don't have to fall into the darkness completely. It's like you need to be able to be the lion when you need to be the lion, and be the lamb when you need to be the lamb, or the tiger in this case. I'm thinking of lions, tigers, and bears, oh my, for some reason as well. So the chakra card that can be helpful for you is dissipating. So it's like you're kind of releasing, again, that past energy of maybe feeling burdensome or like being stabbed in the back. It's like you're over it. You're out of that cycle. You're moving forward. That life, that choice, those people are dissipating out of your life slowly. This is also tied to your solar plexus, which is symbolized by the yellow on the outside of this. I can't even speak. The outside of this card. The solar plexus is the free will zone. It's like, I think of it as like not only the powerhouse of the soul, but it's also the empathetic and narcissistic centers. That's kind of how I view that area, because it's like you have the choice to be empathetic for somebody's situation or narcissistic, but really the fine line there is to be a little bit of both, because you have to, if you're overly empathetic, then you're a toxic empath, which is possible because you're a pushover, you're a doormat. If you're overly narcissistic, you're probably a psychopath, and you're probably not watching this video at all. So the fine line is the cohesion between the two. That's the duality of the nature, and maybe that's the fault line in this case as well. It's like you have to toe the line. You have to be the tightrope walker of turning on those specific traits and things when you need them to be there, because you have responsibilities. And maybe you have children that rely upon you and that require you to be a certain way. And then, you have to defend yourself against others when you have to stand up for them or for yourself too. So something about responsibility that could be pertaining to work, family. It says you are aware of the power of your thoughts and the amount of love that you express. Everything in this reality is based on duality. It's kind of like the rule of two, but it's also the rule of one. And it is the cohesion of choosing light or dark, love or fear, and trying to basically enmesh the two of those things to have a fine balance. Now, the next oracle card I have for you, it says, I am grateful for all that is unfolding in my life and all that is yet to come. And I think this is mostly about just not being afraid of the unknown or what you can't see coming, because as you're moving out of an old lifestyle that you've built and something that was based on a cycle of repeat, You might feel insecure, you might feel scared or frightened or whatever, because you're like not sure what to expect now, because you're this fool on this brand new journey, and it's like, it's exciting, but it's also a little bit frightening, because you're like, oh, what do I do? Who's gonna help me? What am I gonna, how do I even function after I'm out of this, cycle? But you will figure it out. Spirit really wants you to go within. It says meditate and contemplate on this moon card, new moon and Pisces. Some of you might have a lot of Pisces in your chart, or you're dealing with a Pisces, or I don't know, something about Pisces might be just significant, but Pisces usually ties to water, which ties to emotions. So if you've been very emotional, that's normal when it comes to change. So make sure you're trying to meditate and contemplate. If you're like, I hate meditation, I can't sit still, okay, well then listen to some solfeggio frequencies, some binaural beats. I have a couple other videos. If you go like way back on my profile, you can find a lot of meditative things that I recommend. Like there's music, there's the Wim Hof, which is like a breathing and ice bath technique. There's flame gazing. You can flame gaze, and that is like a somatic healing response. I think they call it like EDMR or something like that. And I also saw 111 on the recording clock, so that might be a significant number, but usually to me it just symbolizes you're tapped in to your higher self, your higher knowing, and your intuition's on point. So the next card I have for you is the Elephant. It says, use your sense of empathy to iron out differences in your family or in your personal and professional relationships. Again, I just feel like that's this fine balance here of being like cold, calculating to someone else, and then also having this like graceful elephant wisdom of knowing it's a fine line, because sometimes for certain people, you give them an inch, they take a mile. And if you know who that is, then you know. So don't let yourself be walked all over for the sake of someone else, because you're just giving yourself away. You're just giving away parts of yourself that it's not worth it. Now, the next card I have is practice. This is about your intuition. It says, have fun with your intuition. Try out a silly guessing game. Try to have a laugh. What's the football score? And try to intuitively discover the score before you check. Write it down and then check back to see if you're right, to see if you can hone those senses. And I'm also thinking hockey, so make sure you check the hockey score. And you have number 12 here. This is the last card I have for you, and then I'm going to go over and do the extended reading, which is going to go layers deeper. I'm going to pull a bunch more tarot cards and some love cards just to see what this like old energy is about this karmic person. So change in the wind is your card right now, though. This is a lovely card to have because it is like also symbolizing you have shifted, you have elevated, you have raised your vibration. It probably is going to take some time to see before you see the fruits of your labor, like harvestable, flourishing, budding, those sorts of things. It does take it can be quite some time. It could be Gemini season. It could be May by the time you're seeing actual fruits of your labor. Just because, when we shift, it's a slow and steady thing. As we heal, it's also slow and steady because you're like shedding old skin, you're shedding old lifestyle habits and patterns and people and things that don't belong in your energy anymore as you elevate up and out of the darkness. So it's very positive reading, Aquarius. It's a heavy reading, but a lot of good shifts, a lot of good changes. So again, if you want to watch the extended, the link for that will be in the description box below. So make sure you check that out. If you just liked watching this video and you appreciate whatever I have to say, please smash that like button. If you would like a personalized tarot reading or a coaching session, please feel free to reach out on my website, and you can find that link down below as well. But other than that, Aquarius, I will see you next time.